Here we go.
Hello and welcome to another Woodshop podcast with Mike Coffey of Coffee Custom Builds, Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, and Peter Kapar of Petrie's Workshop. You can find us all as well as the podcast on Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome to episode 63 of another Woodshop podcast. Fun fact, 63 is the combined number of chromosomes between the three of the hosts. What's going on, boys?
What's the right amount that you're supposed to have? It's like 27 or something like that?
It's 63.
23.
Between
23 and me.
Oh, one of us is really lacking. Or two are lacking and one's a genius.
Or all of us are lacking a little bit. Yeah. One of us can
we have as many chromosomes as a banana.
See happiness.
Hey, don't insult bananas.
Well, listen. This episode is brought to you by our patrons. Big thank you to our patrons for supporting us every single week. You guys have made financial backing of this podcast, so we really appreciate you guys so much. If you don't know what Patreon is a way for you to support artists or groups of artists, or even podcasters, because we're not really artists, but you can support people who do different things. And don't look so offended. We're not artists. You can find ways to support us on patreon.com/another woodshop podcast. You can also find other artists on there to support. But if you're going to support some artists, support us first. But big thank you to everyone who supports us over there. You guys are really amazing. We really appreciate you very much. So this week we got a new member of the family over there. That is Frank Porcella Jr. Thank you for showing us your support, showing us your love, and helping us do this thing that we love doing. We really do love doing this.
Fun fact.
Work. But what?
Frank joined us in the pre-show.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I mean, and there was a time where we were thinking about making the pre-show, put it behind a wall for Patreon, and that would have been a huge mistake. So we get to have a really good time with as many people as we can in there. And we really love having fun with people in the pre-show. We just make a bunch of silly, dumb jokes the whole time while we get the show ready to record. And it's just a lot of fun.
It's usually like upwards of 12 people.
I mean, we had at least 12 in there this week. It was pretty dope.
No, but we genuinely coast in the 30 to 40 every single week. No matter what.
Yeah, we've had some really cool numbers in there. We had 100 once, I think, right? I mean, we had that one time we had 100. That was we were really shielding for it too. That was episode 50. 52? 50. Yeah, we were really
we just gave away money.
Yeah, we were paying people to be in there.
Dan was just stripping live.
If you weren't in there, you missed
sugar on me.
It's MDF. It's like flash dance, but he
pour some MDF powder
pulled the shrink, and it's just a bucket of MDF.
Just dumping your extractor on yourself. Ugh. That's disgusting. Did we cover everything we need for Patreon? I think we did.
I think that's it.
Thank you, patrons.
Thank you, patrons. You guys are the best.
I think that's it for the whole show. I think we could.
We should. Dan's real sleepy. We're gonna call it after that. Well, you know what? Let's jump into what's on my bench. There's only one way to do that, though, and that requires Dan to sing like this. But I'm going to throw it to Pete first this week because he never goes first.
I am shooketh. Let me look at my notes.
Did you not want to go?
No, I am ready. I'm definitely ready. I don't have to stall at all. I'm definitely ready to just answer right now and tell you exactly what I worked on this week.
And why don't you talk?
I want Pete to keep going. It's good.
You don't like me stalling? Guys, the Ash table is officially out of my shop. I know this sounds like a repeat of Mike from 3 weeks ago. The Ash table is finally out of the shop. It's finally off my workbench. It is done. It looks really good. I both loved and hated every minute of it. Again, I'm quoting Mike here, but that was because you both loved and you were annoyed with that table. I because it was like a big project, took up a lot of space. There was a lot of little things about it. I feel the same exact way with this because this table, and I talked about this in the last couple of weeks, it's supposed to have glass panels inserted into all four sides of the bottom base. The other thing that got really annoying is last night I glued up I ended up veneering, not even veneering. There were like 0.2 inch thick pieces of of ash that I ended up resawing on a bandsaw and then flattening it on a into planer. I ended up veneering them onto a substrate. I used particle board because I just had a lot of it laying around, and all the glue soaked up into the wood. And as soon as I put it on there, I didn't even get to hit it with the water, because usually when I use a veneer, I spray the other side with water so both absorb moisture evenly and you don't get cupping or like lifting up like paper. And then I ended up just putting every single heavy thing on top of the thing. It was great. I take all the weight off today, and all of that wood, even though I left tiny little gaps in between, it ended up making the whole thing bow up. So, which is fine. It was like bowing by like half an inch, and I had to put significant weight on a center to get it to flatten out. So I ended up just getting a track saw, and I just ran about 10 kerf lines along the bottom, because it's going to be in the frame anyways. You're not going to see it. So I ended up just running kerf lines through the whole thing. And then I was able to just squeeze it with 2 fingers to flatten it out. And we ended up securing it. It looked actually awesome. I loved it. I was super excited to see how this thing looks when it's India inked and fully finished. And it has that Millennium Falcon inside it. Did I mention that last week? What's going inside it? Yeah.
I think you sent us pictures, but I don't think you said it.
Yeah. So the customer / my friend is putting the Lego Millennium Falcon, or building block
Millennium Falcons.
Millennium Falcon inside it. That's the one that's bigger than
a Star Trek thing.
Yes, Star Trek. It's actually Doctor Who.
So
Doctor Who,
Nano.
the Millennium Falcon is bigger on the inside than the outside. And this thing it's $1,500. It's more expensive than the stupid Star Destroyer. That's what it's called, right?
That's a lot of money for Mork.
Yeah. But anyways, this thing's going inside it. It's putting glass around it. He's got cats, and they would mess it up. So that's why there's glass going in it. Anyways, it's done. I don't have to finish it. That's even better. That's my favorite kind of project. I don't have to finish it. He's going to take care of it all himself. Anyways, that's done. I fully accepted that I am not moving until July. I had a week of like mourning. I was pretty upset last week when I found out that it's getting delayed another month. But I'm currently in that stage of like, cool, I got another month to pack. Everything's good. At least it's happening. Calm down. You don't have to get angry, Peter. So I'm just like taking it day by day. I do wish I was getting into that new house and a new shop next week, but you know what? I'll take the extra month to build up some extra capital for shop renovations and just plan things out. The one downside is we are living on boxes. So our living room's filled with packed boxes, and we're just gonna have to put up with it for a month. Super fun. Yeah. Aside from that, my buddy Carmine stopped by. We started working on his van conversion 2 years ago. Then he had some
Went to
changes.
prison.
No, he's too nice for prison. he ended up going back to school, and then I
was close.
Then he got out of school and COVID hit, so he basically could not work, unemployment and all that. And the van ended up going into the shop back in October to just have a single roof section replaced, and apparently they couldn't get parts until just last month. That's how bad things are, guys. Like car parts are getting affected. So they finally got it last month. They got it replaced. We got it sealed up, and we're finally working on the inside of the van again. So we're going to be finishing up that van conversion, hopefully in the next couple of months. So super stoked for that. And lastly, I've been getting back into prototyping. So I'm trying to run my 3D printers a little more. My 5th 3D printer came in. It is sitting on a floor. It took a whole 2.5 days to get here from the Czech Republic. I'm livid about the shipping. It's super late.
2 days? That's crazy.
Dude, it's insane. Wait
a minute. Are you being sarcastic? You're mad about the shipping?
I'm not mad about the shipping at all. It literally took legitimately, not even a full 48 hours from when I got the email to when it was on my doorstep. And it said it was going to be 3 days. It came in even faster. Damn, that shipping is worth it. Meanwhile, Amazon, 1 week. Come on. Anyways, so I got to get that set up. I'm actually very happy that I got this printer before I'm moving, because once I move into the house, I'm not going to have time to set this thing up. Everything's going to get set up now. I have to sit down and assemble it. It's completely in parts. Like this whole printer, every screw, everything, but like that's sitting behind me is completely taken apart. It's technically an 8-hour build. The best I've done on my last one was 5.5 hours. So I'm gonna try
That
to beat
sounds
that
terrible.
this time.
Yeah,
it's not bad. I just pour a lot of bourbon and I put on Rick and Morty and I just try to knock it out. So, but got the printer in.
That all sounds terrible.
What are you talking about?
Well, I like Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is great.
Seal
Mike,
Team
you like
Rex.
bourbon?
I do.
SEAL Team Rick. So that's it. So I got that printer in. I've been doing some prototyping. I got a new product out. I'm working on. I'm getting back into the Makita line and the Merca line. I'm making some stuff for both of those, and I just need to get those knocked out. And that's that. I had a pretty busy week. I actually kind of flew by. Today I was shocked that it was Friday and I had a podcast to record. But I'm super stoked to see you boys. So, Mike, why don't you throw it to Dan?
I had myself muted. Dan, what did you do this week? My son was going crazy in the background. Sorry.
I thought it was me.
I've had a pretty eventful week. I feel like I've been playing a lot with my CNC. I just really enjoy that.
I'm
right
so
now.
glad you said CNC.
I'm so enjoying that right now. I was dabbling with some bow tie templates and stuff, and I had a few people say they'd love a couple of those. So I sent a couple of those out. I've made a few other things with it. I did some engravings. I really enjoy that machine right now. It's so fun. I actually enjoy sitting down and like trying to design something. Like right now I'm trying to design so like let me back up a little bit. So last night we heard a huge crash come from upstairs in the house, and we were like,
was it my bottle of Billy Jealousy?
Was it? I was gonna say it was in Mike's beard oil.
No. We're like, what the heck was that? The rack that holds all my shirts fell. It just completely fell off the wall. It's just a big giant. It's just an 1.5-inch dowel. That's.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Hooks on either side. My wife was like,
"Your house is haunted, or there's a murderer."
She's like,
"It's haunted."
This is what happens when you have too many woodworking shirts. I'm like, well, funny. So, anyways,
wait, why are your shirts hanging up?
I hang up all my shirts.
Savage, weirdo.
That's how we do it in Nebraska.
Whatever. I also hang up my shirts. I'm not sure what angle Pete's going at here.
Yeah,
I fold them. They go in a drawer.
I don't have that many drawers,
like a
bro.
Man.
I've got like 100 shirts.
Like a man.
Like a man. I fold them.
I fold my underwear perfectly like a man.
Hanging them up, you coward.
Anyway,
the shoulders.
What happened was the little mount system is plastic and it broke. So I'm gonna try to recreate that sort of with the CNC, and I've been learning how to create like a 3D profile. So that's been fun. And on top of that, I'm starting on the Big Brother to the Tetris bookshelf. I've glued all the boards up. I'm starting to mill them, not milk them.
Wait, this one's bigger?
Yeah, it's going to be twice the size.
Yeah,
for the same client. It's going to sit right next. Yeah, it's going to be huge. It's going to be like 50 by 90 tall. Yeah, it's going to be a big boy.
Whoa.
So I'm starting to mill up that, and I haven't been working on the basement project just because I cannot spray that big.
That was supposed to be done April 4th.
It should have been done. Yes.
I'm just joking.
No. It should have been done. But like
all kinds of changes.
I need to spray it, and I can't spray it in my shop because it is so big, and I just don't have the space. And I need to spray it outside of my shop, and it's been raining all week. Like all week, every single day this week. It's super frustrating.
So Harbor Freight has this carport you can.
I'm not putting a carport in my yard. I'm not going to be that guy.
You're in Nebraska. Honestly, that would be an upgrade.
I'm not going to be that guy. Meanwhile, burning in his front yard driveway. Meanwhile,
burning plywood at one
end.
Touche.
I'm not going to be that guy. Dan's got like a 10-foot by 12-foot patch of white spray paint on his lawn right now. Anyway, let's just carry on. Just fun facts.
Attacked.
If only there was a way to lay something down below that. Only.
There's grass. It grows and you can mow it. It's fine. Forget where it was.
Just mows the paint off.
Well, I know where you were. You're not going to buy a shelter to spray in.
I'm not buying a shelter. I'm not buying a tarp. That's
Mike, what's
crazy
the plastic
talk.
that you put up? What's the name of it?
Visqueen.
What did you say?
Okay. Aside from that, I got a huge new commission. Basically, I'm building a bunch of end tables and side tables and a desk for a client. And a lot of it's going to be made out of Peruvian walnut, which I'm crazy excited about. So I got an order in for like 200 board feet of Peruvian walnut, which is a darker, more rich looking walnut. And when you put finish on it, it's super dark. I'm really excited about that. So hopefully I'll have all those done by the end of this year. That'd be great.
I hope so.
And
you never know.
I feel like something else yes, something non-woodworking related happened this week.
Oh yes, please.
Is it stuff related?
Cool.
On Monday or Tuesday, I don't remember which day it was.
Tuesday.
Was it Monday? Was it Tuesday?
It's Tuesday.
On Tuesday, I happened to notice that 3 of my neighbors have Ridgelines now, Honda Ridgelines. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Ridgelines are taking over, and I'm making all these Ridgeline jokes in my stories.
You don't need to make jokes about Ridgelines.
Right.
They make
They
themselves.
do it themselves.
But anyways, I made these jokes about Ridgelines in my stories. And that very same day, I'm in my shop, and the neighbor directly across from me, he drives a Ridgeline. It's a nice looking Ridgeline. It's blacked out. It's nice as far as Ridgelines go. But it's running. And I'm like, that's odd. And 4 hours later, it's still running in his driveway. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I go over to his house and I start knocking on his door, and he's not answering. So then I start to worry. I'm like, oh my gosh, something happened to this guy. They're going to see my stories. I'm going to be the first suspect. I'm going to be the Ridgeline killer.
The Ridgeline killer.
The Nebraska
Ridgeline. If I delete my stories, it's just going to make me look even more.
The Ridgeline killer has struck again.
9 out of 11.
Look even more guilty. And I haven't done a thing.
Omaha News 1.
So Mike and Pete have been calling me the Ridgeline killer. So I ended up like calling the non-emergency line, and I had cops come out, and they're like looking around his driveway, and they're like, nah, he's fine. And I'm like, I don't know. He won't answer his door. This is super weird. I was freaking out. Anyway, long story short, I'm the Ridgeline killer, but I didn't kill anybody. Weird.
Long story short, can you tell us, is your neighbor okay?
My neighbor's fine.
Okay, so
I'm not going to get into what happened to him, but yeah,
so
he's fine.
He is alive.
He's alive.
Okay.
He's alive. My neighbor's alive. But I was really sweating there for a while because I was like,
Nick
what
Brim,
happened to neighbor? I made all these.
Nick Brim, if you're listening, can you please fact check this whole thing? Make sure he's still alive.
He's alive, I swear.
Because Dan's probably just building an alibi.
I'm trying. You're ruining everything. I think that's it for my week.
Jeez.
Do we have questions?
Mike. Toss it to Mike.
Oh, did Mike go?
Nope.
Mike, you should go.
I should. That's be cool.
Hey, Mike's here this week.
Well, you threw me off when you were like, "Hey, Mike."
Pete likes to make things go really bad.
Why do we keep him?
That's Pete's signature move, is making it go wrong.
And because do you really want a podcast that's just always flawless?
Yeah, that'd
maybe
be nice.
One episode would be nice.
I'd like to experience it.
I'd like to make the decision for myself. No, I had a very busy week, really busy week, a really productive week. I had my cousin over last week and helping me in the shop on Saturday, and we got a ton of stuff done. And then I got a bunch of stuff done on Saturday by myself. And then I actually took Monday off. I actually I didn't go in the shop at all, and I didn't go on Instagram hardly at all. And I felt so good Tuesday, not just taking a day off. I hadn't taken a day off from things in probably 4 weeks. So I really needed that real bad. But Tuesday I got in the shop and I felt all energized, and I need to get this door. I've needed to build this door for my shed since I built my shed, which was when I got my CNC, which is last September. And I've been wanting to learn how to build doors really bad. And this isn't the same as a door that gets hung into a frame or something, but I thought it was a fun start. So I have all this thermally modified poplar,
which is gorgeous.
Dan
and Pete saw it when they were here. It's really, it's quarter sawn.
It's unbelievably gorgeous.
I
hate
really
poplar.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
And that stuff is nice.
It does not look like poplar.
No,
it looks so good.
It looks like walnut. It really is gorgeous.
And that stuff you're working on looks quarter sawn. It looks
it's quarter
nice.
sawn. So
quarter sawn poplar.
Yeah.
What the
wants
heck?
that. Bird's eye quarter sawn. Anyway, it's really
we don't hate on poplar. Poplar is actually kind of
I hate on poplar.
If I'm gonna do
Dan hates
softwood,
poplar.
that's the one I'm going with.
Well, poplar's a hardwood, technically.
Technically, yeah, you are right. It's a hard softwood.
It's very soft hardwood. You know what I'm saying?
Or soft hardwood? Is that what?
It was in the pool.
It was in the pool. I was in the pool. No, but yeah, anyway, I slapped out this door in like I don't know, like 3.5 hours. It was so fun. I had such a good time doing it. I'm not quite done with it, but I got the whole thing put together, and man, it was just a really good time. So got the shed door mostly done. I'm gonna finish that up this weekend. I have some acquaintances who had a request for a quote for a poker table, and I made this design for this poker table, and I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I think the poker table design looks super sick. Like, I really like how it looks. Dan's saying no. He's throwing shade at it. I really like it a lot. Like, I really hope that they accept the quote. I gave him two options, one for an 8-person, so an octagon, and one for a hexagon, a 6-person table, different price points, different sizes. One's 60 inches. Good.
If you didn't make it out of poplar, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not going to be popular. This one will be walnut. One's going to be, if they go with the octagon, it's going to be 60 inches across. If they go with the hexagon, it's 50 inches across. I just really hope they go with it because it's cool. And then
hexagon is 6.
Yes, 6-agon.
Half guy.
And then I got another, since I did that door, I've got a customer who's actually been I've done a couple jobs for him in the past. Some slab flattening and then another table for him. He reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, do you know who makes doors?" I was like, "Hey, you're talking to a guy. I just made one yesterday." He called me like Wednesday, the day after I made a door. And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been trying to get into doors." He's like, "Do you think you could do one of these sliding barn doors?" I was like, "I know I could." So I'm working on that quote. He actually just said the quote was good today. So hoping to do that one here in the next month. And then I got that teak table. My cousin and I got a lot of that. Well, actually, no, I got that all broken down myself this week. That is ready to be joined. I'm going to get that joined together tomorrow. And then I've got this big elm table I'm working on right now. We got the bench ready for finish last weekend. The table is going to start getting a bunch of epoxy in it this week. And then the big, huge elm conference table. I got a lot of that broken down. because they don't want live edge on it. It's just a big, giant slab of English elm. They want it squared. They want it to look really square. So there's no live edge. Yeah, I disagree with that choice, but it's their choice. So I'm getting rid of the live edge, or the live edge is already gotten rid of. I got to break some more of that down. And I got another quote for a big table going out across the country. I'm hoping to hear more on that next week. And I got a YouTube video out this week. I haven't done a YouTube video in like a month. I hadn't done a full YouTube video. No, I hadn't done a full YouTube video in 2 months. So I got that released. That felt really good to get that out. I don't remember what it was about. Let me look at my channel real quick.
Bandsaw jig.
I just don't recall. Bandsaw jig. Thank you. It was a real simple video on how to make a bandsaw jig to mill your own lumber with logs. You can even mill firewood on it. I've done that before in the past. And then the other thing this week, I actually just did this yesterday, is I had been talking about Jobber. I've been looking for project management apps for a while. I'm just getting really overwhelmed with trying to manage all the projects. And so I finally made the plunge and invested in Jobber this week. I'm literally 3 or 2 days into this thing, so I don't have like a really comprehensive review yet, but so far I'm very happy with it. It's saving me a lot of time already. So I think that if it continues like this, it's just a no-brainer for me, and I'm going to keep the subscription. So I think I pay like $110 a month, and it's just worth it. I mean, I can already see it's going to save me hours and hours and hours every week. So,
and if I understand you correctly, it makes your own YouTube videos. It does
my YouTube videos. It knows how to. It negotiates pricing for me. It actually will pick out my clothes for the next day, and it
lays out your underwear.
I don't have to do my beard anymore because Jobber does that for me. My barber is fired, so they outsource the work to China. No, it's really cool. The software is really cool. I can actually take a link. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Look into Jobber. It's really cool. And if you're really interested in it, hit me up. But yeah, that was my week. I got a lot done this week. There's other things going on, but I don't want to talk about it yet. I'll talk about it soon. But there's some big changes coming.
Always teasing.
A lot of it.
ABT. Always be teasing.
I've hinted about it a lot, but I'm right in the middle of it right now, so I don't really want to go into it. But it has to do with me going full time. So really exciting, and just a lot more news to come here in the coming weeks. So that's it for my week. It's all starting to sound very similar. I've got a lot of big projects going on, so they're all kind of bleeding over, but some new stuff in there. That's cool. I got a couple Etsy. Etsy's been really slow the last week and a half, 2 weeks. And it's actually been kind of nice because I'm just really busy with big stuff. And honestly, I'd really rather do big projects anyway. So want to get into questions?
Before we get into questions,
yeah.
This needs to be said. 63 is the number of chromosomes found in the offspring of a donkey and a horse.
Thank you.
I like this as a new bit for our show.
I like it too. It's fun. I wish it would be less formal and just fully interrupt though. Like in the middle of something. I wish it wouldn't be like, hold on, something needs to be said, because then they're gonna know it's coming. You need to be like acting like you're about to add information to something one of me or Peter is talking about.
Okay.
To be like, yeah, but what about?
So what's interesting about that is,
yeah, perfect, Pete. That's perfect.
in Davenport, Indiana, there's a Menards store number 63.
No, Davenport, Iowa. I will.
Iowa.
Let you. Oh,
Whatever. They're all the same state.
No,
they're all the same.
No.
Okay.
You and Iowa are basically one little municipality.
Yeah. I may live in Nebraska, but my blood runs with Iowa blood.
Whatever.
I'm from Iowa. All right. Sorry. Go on.
My blood runs with Iowa blood. Can take our corn, but they can never take
our freedom.
All right. Our Menards. First question. I need to drink some water. I'm laughing too much. The first question is from Andrew Dembeck, and this is what he has to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, Andrew here from ADD Woodworking. I just want to say thank you for the advice that you gave me last week about cleaning my bandsaw blade. I ended up going with some denatured alcohol and a wire brush. And
you didn't put it in the freezer?
Coward.
My question for you guys this week has to do with sanding. I have a Mercaderos right now, and I find a lot of times once I'm kind of getting to my finishing grits, I see a lot of like the curly cues that are created from sanding, and I'm just curious if you guys have a good way to get rid of them or to prevent them. I'm not sure if it's because of the sandpaper I'm using. I'm using the Abranet most of the time, or if it's because of the stroke of the Deros, the 5mm. Do you guys think it's worth it to get a finishing sander like the Festool? I think it's like the ETS 125. Just interested in your thoughts. Thanks for the podcast. I look forward to your answer.
Dan.
First of all, I use the Mercaderos as a finish sander. It works phenomenally. I think just by listening to what you said, I think your problem is you're pushing too hard. You need to let the sandpaper do the work. Don't push down. That's where those pigtails are going to come from 90% of the time, if not more. Let the sandpaper and the sander do the work. Don't push down. What do you guys think?
Mike?
We'll go at the same time. No.
Oh yeah, I should have.
No.
Fight.
I agree with Dan. Don't push down too hard. But also stay on the lower grits longer. You're probably hopping around too fast on your grits is the problem. Those are called pigtails. Those swirly marks, but you're just not staying long enough.
So curly cues.
Yeah, curly cues. Shoestring fries.
That sounds
the good. ETS 125. I have that sander. So my sanding process is this. I do everything up to 240 with my Deros. And then after 240, if I go after 240, which is not very often, I use my Dios, which is a 3mm finish sander. The ETS is a 3mm. Actually, it might be a 2.5, but it's a finish sander. I don't really grab that one very often because I do like my Merca more. But I do have that. I use it for different things, but I don't usually grab it over my Dios. But if you are looking for a finish sander, that one is a finish sander, and it's a good finish sander, the ETS, but I would recommend the Dios over it. And that's not a Merca sponsorship thing. That is the truth. Like, they're not paying me to use the sander I use. I do pick up my Dios over my ETS 125 because it works better in my opinion. But yeah, stay longer at the lower grits or change your pad, your abrasive more often it might just be worn out. You might have a tear on it somewhere, but that's probably not the case. You're probably just going too fast and pushing too hard. But you really don't need to put much weight on that thing at all.
No.
You should just be able to like put that paddle down. That's all you need
Enough
to do. And
weight
let the weight
for
of the
like
sander
one
do it.
finger.
Yeah. So Pete.
Yeah, the guys hit it on ahead. Yeah, don't apply too much pressure. Let the sander do the work. Let the paper do the work, because the sander is just going to do it, do the right thing. But the one thing I would also include is make sure that with the Merca sander, you probably got a grip saver pad. I forget what they're actually called, but there's a pad that's pad saver. Yeah, that attaches to your actual sander, and then the paper sticks to that. If you, I'm not assuming about your sanding, but if you get very creative with the angles and things that you sand with that thing, you could actually damage that thing, and in certain cases actually melt it. Like, because it overheats so much, it can get damaged. And if it gets damaged, you're going to get twirly marks. And this, actually, I learned this from using my old DeWalt sander that I still have. The pad itself started having really rough areas where it would push these sandpaper out more, and it would make extra swirly marks because it was applying extra pressure.
You're deforming the pad.
Exactly. So check that out, because that could actually, if that is damaged in any way, or you feel, if you're running your hand across and you feel high spots, you probably are due for a new one, or maybe it's just damaged. Maybe cut it out, sand it down, or probably just replace it. They're hella cheap. So
they're called the pad saver. They're called the pad saver.
Pad saver. Okay, it is.
And it really is a bummer. I mean, it's not a bummer. It's just a fact of life. You buy an expensive sander, now you have to buy this pad saver too. It sucks, but I get it. But they're $5.75, or a 5-pack is $25.
You technically don't need it.
No, they recommend you use it.
But it's very recommended to use it. And here's the other thing: when you use the pad saver, the sander is actually weighted for paper plus the pad saver. If you look at the instructions, there is a nut you should remove if you're not using a pad saver. So it's actually weighted for that.
Wow. Today I learned.
Yeah, check the instructions.
So yeah, you want those pad savers. They're important if you don't have that with the Darrows. The next question is from Jake Miller. He's from ASI Shop Life.
ASI Shop Life.
He is got this to say. Jake always calls in. He's a great guy.
Hey guys, it's Jake Miller from ASI Shop Life on Instagram, and was just calling in to see what you guys do as far as pricing on Etsy. When you guys post a new item, do you do some research and look and see what other makers out there have that might be similar to kind of base your pricing off of, or do you guys just go with kind of your normal pricing structure? I've been churning out a lot of stuff on the CNC here the last few days, and my wife and I are finally going to take the time and sit down and actually put an Etsy together. And we're just trying to get an idea of where to even start as far as pricing. So let me know. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Pete,
I use Etsy to dictate my pricing and or whether to even list the item, because there's been items that I was like, oh, I can make this easily, and then I would look at on Etsy and find out that a certain item is going for so low that it's not even worth my time. I would make a couple of dollars on each one, and it's just not worth it. So yeah, I use Etsy. We actually talked about it, I think, last week. And actually, Mike, you talked about this with Jason Bentz yesterday on your live, which is your market dictates your pricing. And guess what? Etsy is not a local market. It's its own market. And if Etsy's market says a certain thing, if there's a lot of reputable shops listing, let's say, a beer bottle shaped bottle opener, which I think that's what he's making recently out of some scraps. If people are selling them for $7, and for you to make it, we're going to list it at like $12 or whatever, is it really worth it for you to do? So sometimes you just got to go, it's not worth it. I'm not going to do it. These are going to be great stocking stuffers or things to bring to a local show or to sell locally. But to add shipping and other stuff to that, when an item is single digits, pricing almost makes no sense. I'm sorry, shipping almost makes no sense on that pricing. So that's something to think about as well. But yeah, use Etsy to figure out what the market value is in that market based on your shop compared to these other shops. Dan, you've been getting into the Etsy game.
I've been getting into it, but I haven't been like researching.
How have you
prices.
decided to price some of your stuff? Because you're new to it, just like Jake.
I'm new to it, and the way I've been deciding to price, I just pull a number out of my rear, and I'm like, well, that seems good.
Nothing
I'm gonna go with that and see what happens. It's not the best system. It's really not.
But your pricing's not ridiculous.
I really should be, researching a little more, but I'm not. And I don't sell nearly as much as these two, so I don't know if I can add too much to this. Mike, what do you think?
So the first thing I do when I make a new item, well, first I sit down with pen and paper and I take my estimating sheet and I think how much I would want to make if I was making a one-off for a customer. So I take that dollar amount and then I go do my market research on Etsy, and I do what Pete said, see if it's even worth even attempting. So I think like if you're for like the higher ticket items, my kind of rule of thumb is if I can get close to the dollar amount that I want and be 20% higher than the cheapest guy, I'm almost certain I can sell it. Because you can sell stuff if you're 20% more expensive than some of those guys. Like if they've got an $80 thing and you're selling it for $100, if you got some really good pictures, and you're probably gonna make some sales still, even if there is a guy that's cheaper. If you can make a picture or have some sort of like little detail that someone else likes more, you'll probably make a sale.
Guys.
Video, add stuff, add that stuff. But
I added video to a post, it blew up. It's kind of crazy.
Back up.
The sale post.
You can add videos to Etsy.
You can now add videos to Etsy.
You can add a 15-second video,
and those posts. We always talk about this.
Everything.
A new feature being added by a platform. You should be focusing on that, and it's worth it.
Alrighty.
The other side of that same coin is I've got that on about 4 posts, and they haven't done anything. So it's not like a golden ticket to free sales, but it's something you definitely want to do. Yeah, it helps. It'll help. You definitely want to take advantage of all the platform's features. I agree with Pete 100%. But I've got it on 4 things, and they've never taken off. But I have it on some other ones, and they have taken off. So definitely do everything they're offering. But that's kind of my process. I usually look at the 20% number. That is something that Jeff over at Two Moose had told me that like you're never going to be as cheap as the cheapest one. So another thing to look at is I actually was just dealing with this week. I have a quote out that got accepted. Actually, someone wanted me to laser cut some table markers, and they were just going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. They're just going to be cut out of MDF, right? Well, they sent me an Etsy listing, and it was like $3 each. And I'm like, well, I'm already out. I can't make these for $3 each. There's no way. And then you got to scroll through the whole listing. They weren't offering free shipping. It was $17.50 to ship each one. So they're $21 a piece. So you got to look at all the details. You can't just look at just the numbers. So if you see something that looks a little crazy, really dig into that post because it might not be what it seems. And anyway, that was the case. I was able to argue that point and actually land on the job at my number that I wanted. So, there's a lot of work to it. You'll figure it all out, man. I would just start getting listings up there and start putting listings up regularly. Don't list items as like if you made 10 bottle openers, don't make 10 separate listings. List them all as bottle openers and use the variations option within that listing. Yep. So you can keep getting sales on that one item. You don't want to sell individual ones.
What's up, Dan?
Did you just blow your mind, Dan?
Dan, you did arms.
Just blew my mind. I didn't know that was the thing.
The sale, that actual one post. So if you sell out of it and that sale, it didn't help your stats.
Yeah.
You're not having like one listing that's building sales on it. Does that make sense? So if you have if you have a listing for just bottle openers, you want all your bottle openers under that one, and you want to use the variations tab. You can edit those variations as you go, but you really want to try to like make all my bottle openers look exactly the same. And I list them all under bottle openers, and I don't have any stock. I just, as I sell them, I make them. Yeah, I make them as I sell them because the listings that you make that are this was made by me in 2020 or 2020 to 2021. Those ones do better than the ones where you're like, oh, this is a one-off. You don't want to. I can't remember.
I find that as well.
Is it one-off?
Yeah, like one-off things, but things that continuously get remade or you list as made to order. I think they do pretty well because they're.
No, Well, you actually you don't say they're made to order, but they actually are made to order. You don't want to list it as made to order because those are the ones that don't do. I might have it backwards.
I know made to order, I think will do fine. You don't need to necessarily, because it still asks you for quantity.
I'm looking at my listings.
Here's the thing. It is a black hole of information, but
there's so much.
Yeah, but yes, you want a listing to have some kind of lifespan to it. You want it to, so what I see a lot of people do is they'll make, let's say 5 of a thing, let's say a bottle opener, and they'll put a picture up with literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then make a separate variation for each one, and people can choose which one they want, even if there's just one of each stock. So I've gone on listings and looked at them and clicked like, oh, number 1, 2, and 5 are out of stock. I can only buy 3 and 4, and I look at the picture. So like that listing still looks like a multiple sale listing, but it's
and you can have 10 variations. Well, no, that's not true. You actually can have unlimited variations.
Unlimited variations.
You can have 10 photos that link to the variations. So you can have a bunch of examples.
So you can have one photo with numbers next to them too, like all 5.
So you can, if you can like fit like 5 on one photo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have 10 photos, you can technically put 50 separate listings in that one listing.
Yep.
And then you just change that in the variations, and they can go through the drop down and be like, photo 1, item 1 from photo 1, and then they choose that one item, and that's what they get. So you're trying to take advantage of you're not paying a bunch of listing fees, but you will still pay the 20 cents every time it sells, plus the 15% or whatever it is after the sale. But you're saving yourself the listing fee.
Yeah, me and Mike have a saying, we kind of joke around about it, but it's ABL. Always be listing.
Yeah,
always be listing something. Always be listing stuff on your site. There should always be stuff on there, because the thing is, at the end of the day, you can have 5 listings in your page, but you have 1,000 sales and 150 reviews in a year, and people are gonna be like, well, it's only 5 items, but clearly people are paying $300 for this tray or whatever, because you've built up to that point. Like, that's how you build up reputation. You can then dictate your own price. Exactly. So get in there. Always be listening.
You can reach out to us as well individually if you ever have questions. So
yep.
This next question is from John Tacarino. He has this to say.
Hey guys, it's John from Tac Woodworks. 2 quick questions for you, if you don't mind. The first is, I'm running tools off of an extension cord from inside the house in the shop right now, and I'm just looking for some basic advice. I have a panel out in the garage. What do you recommend I do just to set up some basics, whether it be 1 circuit, 2 circuit, that kind of thing, just to run a few tools, set up dust collection? Appreciate your quick tips on that. Second is, in terms of table saw, I have a table saw. I'm looking to upgrade it. And what's your advice for best table saw for under $1,000? Love the podcast, guys. Keep it up. Thanks so much.
I'll go first if you guys don't mind.
Please.
So for power, go way more than you'll need. I recommend that because I've made the mistake where my uncle came and helped me with my power, and he's like, let's do more than you'll ever think. I'm like, this is definitely more than I'll ever think. And then I redid it 3 times subsequently after that. So do way more power than you'll ever think. Obviously, it varies how much you're going to actually need to put in there. But I would say at least 2 circuits. So you can run 2 tools at once. And that means a dust collector and another tool, at least 2. I would very much argue for put in at least 1 220 circuit, because before you know it, you're going to want 2 220 tools in your shop. So I would say if you're going to really just do it, put in 4 110 circuits and 2 220 circuits. And on each 220 circuit, put 2 220 plugs. And on each one of those 110 circuits, put at least 4 110 plugs. So you can have stuff all over your shop. That's what I would do. Now, if you're trying to be very, very conservative about it, do at least 2 and 1. At the very least, do 2 110s and 1 220 at the very least. I think you're going to still not find that to be enough in a very short time. As far as the table saw goes, I am going to sound like a shill, but the F1 I think is a great cabinet saw for under $1,000. The other option that's really good is it seems like you can get a pretty decent grizzly for under $1,000. It is also, they have a hybrid and a cabinet saw that I think you can get under $1,000. But my real advice, or my is just get a nice used table saw off Facebook Marketplace. find one that looks really good. Unless you really want this to be like a table saw that's going to last you a really, really long time, I would say just get a table saw that's on Facebook Marketplace for $1,000, because you're probably going to replace it before you know it. Dan, what about you?
I was going to say at least 2 circuits in your shop, because I ran into that problem not that long ago. I wasn't running a extension cord from my house, but I was running an extension cord to run my whole shop off of 1 circuit. You need at least 2, simply because what Mike said, so you can run dust collection and a tool, because you will be popping breakers eventually. Mm-hmm. And I like what Mike said. I think a 220 outlet, at least 1 circuit for 220 is a great idea, because once you use 220, man, you will want every tool on 220 that you can get on 220. So the other thing is, that's great advice.
All right. So real quick, the other thing is like doing electrical, unless you like, it's really not like it's not super hard, but it's not fun. Like, it's not a fun thing. So knock it all out in one weekend that you'll never have to do it again for a very long time. Like, make it so that you don't have to do that chore for a very long time. That's my only reason I'm saying that.
And I was going to say, if you don't know what you're doing as far as electrical goes, get somebody who knows what they're doing, or hire a professional. That is not something you want to mess around with.
No.
Yep.
You can start a fire and ruin your day really fast.
You will start a fire.
So make sure you get somebody who knows what they're doing to help you if you don't have any idea what you're doing. And as far as the table saw goes, I feel like I say this every time somebody asks this, because I had one. The Delta 36-725 that you can get from Lowe's is a fantastic saw under $1,000. I believe it's like $599. It's a contractor saw. It's got a T-fence. It's a great saw. The only reason I upgraded and got rid of it was because I was in a position to get that saw stop, and I wanted a cabinet saw. And you may find yourself in that position, but if you just want a good starter saw, that Delta saw is great, and I can't recommend it enough. And you can actually upgrade that saw to a 220 motor. That's a possibility, if that's something you want to do. Pete, what do you think? What do you got?
As I'm taking a drink, I feel like that's what I usually.
Well, that's on you.
Oh, that's on me. Yeah. So I'll start with the second question first. Table saw, I agree with Dan that Delta or the comparable rigid one, they're both in like the 600 to 700 range.
They actually redesigned that rigid, and they both look almost identical now.
Yeah, they're like very similar. And honestly, it's like, yeah, your budget is $1,000, but it doesn't mean you got to spend that, because that's the tier that you're in. And they're great saws. I had the rigid one, and I had the old school full cast iron body with like these weird grids in it where you could like pass a clamp through and like clamp a piece in, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's my first choice, is get one of those two, because they're going to be fine, and save money for a real big boy saw if you ever need it. Because here's the thing, we have all gotten to that point, the three of us, where we either need it professionally, or we just want it, or it's a safety thing, like a saw stop or whatever. But like, realistically, if I haven't found the deal I did on the Powermatic, I'd still have a rigid table saw in my shop, because that saw was great. I actually really liked it. Dust collection kind of sucked on it, but aside from that, I had a really good time with it. So I'm not going to hate on it. It's great. And then the money you save, put it into a little like fund or envelope or whatever, or mentally save that amount in your head. Either buy accessories or start saving for the big boy saw. The other thing is, guys, the deals are out there. I have a PM2000 table saw, Powermatic 2000. It's a great table saw. It's right up there with the the saw stops, the F3 saws, the big ones, whatever. They don't, obviously it doesn't have the saw stop blade stopping capability, but it's a full professional grade saw. I got it for $600 on Craigslist.
Steal.
Somebody he was just moving. He gave me that and a bunch of slabs of cherry that I still am trying to make my way through that cherry a year and a half later. The saw was $600, cherry was $100. You can't beat that kind of deal. There's deals out there. People are constantly moving. People are trying to just get rid of stuff. People sometimes don't know what they have. You can find a nice deal. $600 for a cabinet grade table saw or professional grade table saw that I will probably not upgrade until I just decide to get a saw stop, because I genuinely love it. As far as what I recommend for power, what Dan and Mike said, perfect recommendations. I think you should have several 110s and a 220 in your shop. But I'm going to give the answer of like the super hobbyist person, and that is, at the very least, you have 2 110 circuits running through your shop. And by circuits, I mean you have an outlet, at least a double, if not a quad, every 6 to 8 feet along a wall or 2 or whatever. And you can be 2 separate runs, and you want at least 2 runs. Now, here's the thing. You could technically run a dust collection and other things on that same run, but you would ideally want them separated. So if your table saw or all the heavy duty tools are on one circuit, you probably want your dust collection on the other one. That being said, I've run my dust collection, my laser, with the laser, it obviously comes with a chiller, air extraction, and compressor and stuff. And I've run my CNC all off of a single 110 20 amp circuit. So you could do that
at the same time.
At the same time. Now, when I turn on the vacuum for the CNC, maybe sometimes it trips. So it can hold up a decent amount. But at the very least, a 220 honestly, you should get 220 in your shop. But at the very least, get 2 runs over your entire shop of 110 at the very least. So that's my answer.
Want to talk about what we're doing, Dan?
Yes, I do. What are we doing?
Shirt.
The thing with the
I'm joking. So we're gonna give away a shirt this week, an AWP shirt, AWP podcast shirt,
and what about the other thing?
So I didn't write down any code phrases. I wrote down one, and it's kind of neat, but it's not funny.
Chromosomes.
Donkeys and chromosomes. I was hoping that would be the show title, to be honest with you.
Really? You want that over Ridgeline Killer? That's your call.
Which one is going to be the show title?
I want the Ridgeline Killer.
All right, then. Donkeys and chromosomes is the code phrase. Send that to us in an email to awppodcast@gmail.com, and you will be entered for a t-shirt.
We're as confused as you are.
Yes. My code phrase was gonna be always be listing, but donkeys and chromosomes.
ABL.
Yeah, we're gonna give away a shirt. The winner will get their choice of shirt, and you got to tell us what size. It can't be a 5X. I mean, we got limits.
What?
Do we?
I don't know.
I don't think we have any limits.
No, we don't have any limits.
We can do anything.
Let's go on. This is a train wreck.
Dan over here.
Yeah,
giveaway this week. No fatties.
5X.
Damn, Dan.
All right. Moving on very quickly. This next question is from Moses Chomo, Mocho. Here we go.
From Cho My People Mo.
Hey guys, it's Mocho with Chosen Mo Co-Craft. Hey Dan, I wanted to ask you, what's the difference between a math guy and the numbers guy? Because I hear that you're the numbers guy. I mean the math guy. I mean, what the heck is the difference?
It's easy. The numbers guy counts things.
Thing.
The numbers guy counts things. He takes inventory.
Singular. Counts things.
He takes inventory of things.
1 Menard. 2 Menard.
The math guy, which I am he. I add and subtract things. I can put numbers together.
I math.
Make them different numbers and math them.
I can take numbers and put them together and make different numbers.
That's it.
Well, thank you for the clarification, Dunlap. The next is from Nick C.
Made no sense.
Nick Cochran. Nick Cochran has this to say. Nick Cochran.
Hey guys, had a gentleman come by and cut down my red oak tree. As a gift, he carved a small bear out of a branch. Now, I sat outside for a week and became more red. I plan on giving the little guy some sanding, but after that, I don't know what to do. Thanks for the help.
Daniel, now that you've explained your numbers situation so
I'm not
succinctly,
sure what he's
what
at.
should
Is
this
he
guy do with
asking
his
what
bear?
sort of finish to put on this thing?
I think he wants to know what to finish it with. Yeah.
I think so.
Sand it and put some spar urethane on it, buddy. That's what I would do.
Boom. Pete.
Thompson's water seal, or
not sponsored.
No, I don't know. It's like a tree. It's a carved bear out of a branch.
Yeah, he sent a picture. Did you not see the picture?
Oh, I did not. Oh,
It's a very
there's
nice looking bear.
Guys, if you really want to get your question played, send a photo. Also, just send a question.
Separate email. I flagged it.
No, but I would say just hit it with any kind of like outdoor, like even like decking finish. Although a lot of those are like the stains in them, so just get something natural. Because I feel like Mike's gonna do the obvious answer, so I didn't do it yet.
Odie's.
I was gonna say like epoxy, halcyon.
No, I am gonna say India ink it, and then
it is oak.
Spar urethane on it.
It is oak.
Red oak, and red oak looks like caca. Oh, you never seen a black bear before?
No, I'm gonna fully disagree because for a couple reasons. Like, first of all, Mother Nature hates like outdoor furniture made out of wood.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say, just calm down, Peter. If you make it black, it will soak up more UV rays and will deteriorate faster, I believe.
Spar urethane.
Yeah. Pete,
UV inhibitors.
Pete clearly wants to add something.
Answer. Yeah.
In the words of my people, Shoshugiban.
Oh, that'd work really well, actually.
Actually, genuine answer. Shoshugiban, which is basically just
really
burn the exterior of the wood, charring it, and then you could. Well, you'd probably still want to hit it with some kind of finish, right?
Actually, it's not called Shoshugiban. It's something else.
What is it?
I can't remember what it's called.
Nebraska Fire Pit?
It's Shoshugiban.
No, it's not. Tamar did a whole post on it. It's not called Shoshugiban.
Mexican scissor lift.
That's it.
Nebraskan firecrotch. What?
Oh my God.
All right. This next question is from
this next
question is from Sean Menards.
Hold on, guys. Sean made the marks on Instagram. Had a question about outdoor finishes. So I have
really topical.
Roughly 5 foot by 2.5 foot sign that's going to be going out to Idaho. It's going to see some inclement weather, weather. Snow, all that fun stuff. So the whole sign's being built out of cedar. Letters being cut out of cedar. I'm not doing a backing or anything of that nature. Just kind of glue up the boards together. I want it to last, so I'm looking for a good finish that's gonna, withstand some. I'm not gonna say that word again. You know what I mean? Bad weather. There we go. So any input you guys got, I'd appreciate it, and have a good night.
Pete, what would you do?
If he's doing a sign, so he probably wants to keep the original finish. So I'm going to go with Halcyon because I've used it for outdoors and it so far has held up great. So that's my answer. And it keeps the natural look of the wood quite well. Mike?
I also really like Halcyon. I meant to tell you guys this. I was at Urban Wood Rescue picking up the slabs for that conference table, and they had this huge sycamore log. It was probably 3 feet in diameter, and they cut out like a flat portion of it, like a slab, and then they cut a waterfall off the log. So it's this big table now. It's got waterfalls on both sides. They finished that thing a year ago with Halcyon, and it sits outside, direct sunlight, weather, and it looks great still. I just want to tell you guys that because that finish, it feels really good and it looks really great. They put the amber on there. Also, I've been spraying this Target Coatings product. If it was me, I'd be trying this urethane because I really like how the urethane sprays. Not that the Halcyon doesn't spray great too. It sprays really well. But this urethane from Target Coatings has got a bunch of UV inhibitors in it. And it doesn't change the color like at all. So I really like that stuff. So I'd try that. But also a spar urethane would be good. There's a bunch of good options. You could do like a tung oil. But yeah, I know Total Boat has a million exterior finishes. I just use their Lust on a boat deck, and
What is that? I was thinking about
it's
picking some of it up.
extremely strong. Like it's very durable. You can tell it's very durable. Like I had to have the shop open and fans blowing out and fans blowing
by durable,
in.
you mean smelly.
It's very strong. Like, I mean, it's strong. Like you get it on there, you can like, after like 3 days, it felt like glass over the top. It's a very durable finish. So
I might have an idea for that. Okay.
Dan?
Well, I haven't used Halcyon too much. I would go with a spar urethane for anything that's outdoors. Or I would do Yakasugi.
What did you call me?
Yakasugi.
Dan just looked it up.
Shoshugiban actually means nothing. It's a mistranslation of the word Yakasugi. Yakasugi is literally translated as charred cypress or cedar. Oh, Pete's getting on his thinking class.
Well, actually,
Shoshugiban means nothing. It's called Yakasugi. I just want to throw that out there, and I wanted to give a huge shout out and a thank you to Tamar for posting that. You learned something today. Next.
So you're
gonna drop a pencil.
So you took my answer from the last question.
I just wanted to correct you. Go.
I just looked up Yakisugi, and it says that Yakisugi, the original Shoshugiban, but I'm not going to read anymore because I just don't really care. I'm just going to believe Dan
as a
with it. So
type of ethnic sandwich.
63 is the number of chromosomes found in the offspring of a donkey and a horse.
So yaki means heat, so teriyaki, and sugi means cypress, so it means heat cypress. In the West, it's known as Shosugiban. I guess they go hand in hand according to this Wikipedia article.
Anybody
can
edit
for another reason.
For all I know, you got on Wikipedia and edited that yourself.
Yes, he has that kind of influence.
I would not lie about this particular topic. I would not spend the effort to edit Wikipedia.
I would. I totally would.
I know. I'm not Dunlap. I ain't got time for this. All right. Listen, this is a great episode. And if you have something else to say about that, you just go tell us in the reviews.
Wait, we had one more
question. If it's nothing nice, don't tell us. Oh, you do? Okay, go ahead.
We did. It was from Scott from Scott the Dad, It Yourself DIY.
Scott the Dad.
You had a question for reals?
Yeah, he typed in a question.
Oh, you don't. That doesn't count for chat. No, don't. I'm going. Go ahead, read it.
It's a decent question. It's a terrible question, but I'll read it anyways. We're trying to fill an hour. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So he asked. He's going to be teaching someone how to make a cutting board, and he's asking what are some good cutting board tips to share with someone that is a novice? Like, what are things that you should focus on? So Dan, being a cutting board expert, since you made an entire shelf out of them, can you tell us?
I like how Dan's the cutting board expert. Meanwhile, Pete, up until 1 week ago, had 7,300 excess cutting boards in the back of his shop.
700. Don't
Let's not get crazy,
right.
Michael.
I meant to say 7 to 300, not 7,300. I go backwards on those things.
I would just say teach them the importance of grain direction and, the importance of keeping the board dry, I guess. Pete, since you are no longer the expert, I'm going to toss it to Mike.
I actually had a local guy here in my shop yesterday. His name's Nick. He's that guy who lives up the street from me. I told you guys about that has the sawmill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember. Anyway,
no. Dan's also got a guy with a sawmill up the street.
That's true.
He only brought it up every day.
Well, he's never done any woodworking really, like very limited amount of woodworking. So he found a downed chestnut tree from the property where he gets all his trees from for all his slabbing. Anyway, chestnut's pretty rare. I don't know if you guys know that, but if you're a listener, you don't know that. Chestnut's really rare. He downed this chestnut tree. He slabbed up some of it. There was some mini slabs out of that thing. And he had some family friends he wanted to make a cutting board for. He's using the chestnut. Well, he's never made a cutting board. So the thing that I noticed about showing someone who's never made a cutting board was how much he was overthinking it. Like he was really overthinking about like, what if I need a chamfer or round over this? And like, you do whatever you want. It's your board. Like you don't have to do anything. You can leave the edges sharp. I mean, you don't want to leave it so sharp that someone's going to cut their finger on it, but it's a expression of whatever you want it to be. So however you see this in your head, if you want to do a round over, do it. Don't overthink it. Just got to get the basics down, which is make sure you apply your finish really well and to how it's supposed to be, because you don't want to ruin that. And grain direction. This was like this guy, he didn't have to glue anything up because it was like a mini slab. So it was like a super simple situation. So he didn't have to glue up any strips or anything like that. So, but just don't overthink it. Kind of just have fun with it. And if you mess it up, it's okay. Right. It's not very much wood. It's not a big deal. Like just make another one. And if you mess up that one,
there's a reason why every woodworker makes cutting boards, because it's the easy entry.
It's the most entry level thing.
Yeah.
So the only thing easier than a cutting board with slats is a cutting board made from a tiny live edge slab.
Or a swing
just like
plank
nothing
or
to
something.
Do. Yeah, it's just like jabs, finger guns, pew pew. No, I remember after that episode aired, so many people messaged me thinking it was so funny. I was like my reaction. Anyway, that was a really funny episode. Pete's swinging chair. Like, no, but you really, don't overthink it. Just have fun with them. They really are like, sometimes I'm having like a bad week in the shop and I'm just gonna make a cutting board because they're really, really just they get mindless pretty quickly. That's why a lot of like woodworkers get really tired of them really fast, because they're so mindless. But sometimes
you get so really nice with them. That's what
that's what I'm gonna say. Sometimes it's really nice. You can just do whatever you want with them and just have fun with it. And then you can do with that whatever. And it's just kind of mindless fun, something you can't mess up kind of a thing. It's a confidence booster. Sometimes you need it when you have a fail on a project and you just need a win. Sometimes you need that with a cutting board. Anyway, Pete, you're the expert.
Okay. So the only thing I'm going to say
on cutting boards.
Sure, why not? So Mike actually hit it on a head. It becomes a mindless thing you can knock out almost any time. You find a way to use all your scraps, long scraps, to make.
Love finds a way.
Love finds a way.
Life, I hear.
Life.
Yeah, life
finds a way. It just drips down your hand. If you watch the movie.
What the hell?
Jeff Goldblum.
Okay.
Watch the movie Jurassic Park. Great movie. It's an indie film. So is what you wanted. So yes, you can get him knocked out very quickly. You don't have to focus about too much. You don't have to overthink it. Mike is absolutely correct. However, if you want to take your boards to the next level, and if you want to take the time to educate your customers about it, there are 3 types of boards you can make. There is face grain, edge grain, end grain. And that's if you really want to overthink it, because you really don't need to. So you can glue up face grain. So think of when you're looking at the side of the board, like the end grain of the board, it's got a smile or a frown or maybe a part of thing. You see the grain running along it. That flat face of the board is the face grain. Now, if the grain is running straight up and down along the length of the full board, you're looking at end grain. So end grain. I'm sorry, edge grain. Thank you. Sorry. And then the end grain is the part you're looking at. It's the part that actually tells you the direction of the grain. That is what they call, some people refer to it as a self-healing cutting board. It's the best one, takes the most amount of work, and they're usually the most expensive because they take the most amount of work. But because you're essentially cutting up a bunch of straws that point straight up, and you're splitting those hairs back and forth, but they're never really being sheared off of the board itself. Edge grain, as you're cutting on it, the strips of the edge grain may eventually fall out or be removed or chopped out as it goes. And the face grain, the most basic, which if you're using just a basic slab, that's why charcuterie boards don't make the best cutting boards, because it's all face grain. And as you cut stuff up, entire sheets of the face grain may eventually start coming up and peeling up. So now here's the thing. Most users are never going to notice little things like that. However, it's something that you should just educate yourself on if you want to learn about grain direction and types of grain and all that, because it's actually quite fascinating. And if you want to put out a product out there that will genuinely last for a decade or more, you can make a cutting. And here's the thing, make a cutting board this weekend. If you're a patron, you're probably getting this podcast on Saturday, make a cutting board this weekend if you've never made one. Because honestly, the best time to make one is right now. And by the time you decide to start making them for customers, you've already had yours for months and you're going to learn from some mistakes. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. That's all I got.
Boom. Cutting boards. They're fun.
Hella
They're
fun.
also a gateway drug, so be careful.
Great way to
that's the show.
scraps.
We're gonna get out of this, and we're gonna call it a week. Dan's real tired. I mean, look at him, poor guy. I just want to go pat his head and give him a hug. Big thanks to everyone who supports the show. You guys are incredible. Thanks to all the patrons. Thank you to everyone who shares the show. That really is the biggest thing, like sharing the show. Please keep doing that. We really appreciate it. Keeps the show alive in your feed. Keeps the show alive in people's eyes and in their hearts. And in their minds. No, but big thank you to everyone who does that.
We just want to live in everybody's hearts.
Yeah, we just want to live in your heart. It's so warm, so much blood. So big thank you to
weird.
Such a vampires.
Yeah, it did. Whew. Yeah. Give us those reviews. We think that does something. We don't know. But
it does. Go watch Mike's video. Go watch Mike's video on YouTube.
And give him a review.
Yeah, go watch my video, please.
Like,
yes,
share,
go watch my
subscribe.
YouTube video. That'd be great. Hit that, smash that notification button. Go check out the AWP store on Etsy.com. We we got great shirts over there. We got a lot of bunch of merch over there. If you want to show that, or if you want to support the show that way, if you don't want to do the Patreon thing, buying a shirt from the store really does help us out too. You can get a nice piece of swag, and you can wear around the podcast. And also we're giving one away this week. So we'd love it if you gave us some support over there. That is going to be it for us though. Check us out next week. I'm going to go edit this thing and get this thing out for the patrons right now so they can have this thing ASAP. And we'll have it live for everyone else here in a couple days. So thank you, everyone.
What is Pete doing?
I'm slowly saying goodbye.
Voguing or something.
Oh,
okay.
Vogue.
Bye now.
Unboxing.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Love you long time.
Bye. 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 Kill it.